You're listening to the AstroMommy Daily Horoscope, a forecast that hopes to shine a light in the dark, helping us all see where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time subscriber, thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you being in the AstroMommy community. I hope you enjoyed today's horoscope and card reading. If you would like to support the AstroMommy Newsletter, there are several ways to do so. Subscribe on Substack, share it with a friend, schedule a reading, check out my family's Etsy shop, Metaphysical Flamingo, or just leave a tip. Without further ado, here is the Daily Horoscope. Venus square Saturn. Youthful Venus gets a reality check from stern Saturn. Words are boundaries for our thoughts and feelings. Daily Horoscope for Friday, April 14th, 2023. Good morning, friends. Okay, let's get into the astrology. Well, today we have the moon in Aquarius, moving fast at 14 degrees, 19 minutes per day. Last night, the moon met up with Pluto, but today she is past that 10th spot, and she will be making her way from 4 degrees to 18 degrees of Aquarius, thus forming aspects to Mars, Neptune, Mercury, Chiron, and Uranus. At 9:46 a.m. Eastern Time, the moon forms a quincunx to Mars in Cancer, representing something feeling out of sorts in our environments or our ability to muster up the energy to do something. The Mars in Cancer energy wants to take action and make breakfast, but they may be upset because there are no eggs. So compromises, uncomfortable compromises, may have to be made, like making and eating oatmeal when you are craving a cheesy omelet. Then the moon forms a semisquare to dreamy Neptune in Pisces, and this is when you add cheese to your oatmeal in an attempt to recreate the omelet. And it doesn't work. It is just not the same. So just relax and don't try to force things to be something they're not. At 12:38 p.m. Eastern Time, Venus in Gemini forms a square with Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is in the superior position, so he has the upper hand. Venus in Gemini is fun, curious, super playful, spontaneous, youthful, and excited to learn and experience new things. Saturn in Pisces is heavy, melancholic, a bit depressive, and seriously spiritual or religious. When Venus and Saturn are in a square, it's like Saruman from The Lord of the Rings having to tell his teenage daughter who is having a sleepover with her friends that they have to keep it down, stop talking, and go to bed. It represents fun-loving Venus getting a reality check from serious, hard-ruled Saturn. Just the other day, I had to tell my husband and 2 of our kids to stop playing video games and go to bed. Venus was just entering into the engagement with Saturn for this transit, so it can represent a time when you or someone you know is having to enforce the boundaries, be the adult in the situation, and reel in the youthful, fun energy. Venus square Saturn can also represent big, responsible decisions that will bring you more benefit and fortune in the long run as well. Right after their square perfects, Venus makes a quincunx to the south node, further implicating that this transit will be about foregoing our immediate gratification and temptations for something more stable, serious, and Saturnine. Then Saturn forms positive aspects to the nodes at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, a sextile to the north node and a trine to the south node, indicating that whatever Venusian area you are practicing restraint, such as lavish purchases, overeating, applying too much makeup, etc., you may be rewarded in the long run because of your patience, hard work, and discipline. This could also have to do with spending money. We may very well come up against wanting to make purchases, but deciding against them in favor of saving or investing in something with a more substantial return, but only after many years. By the afternoon, the moon in Aquarius perfects a square to Mercury in Taurus at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Moon and Mercury in a hard aspect could indicate some troubles when it comes to communicating our thoughts and feelings, or it could mean the technology with which we use to communicate has some issues. And with Mercury being in shadow, I could see this happening today. There may also be news that we hear or read about that could shock us in some way. So just be aware that there could be tensions surrounding communication, technology, or even transportation today with a peak in the afternoon. This evening, the moon forms a sextile to Chiron in Aries, and then shortly after, she forms a square to Uranus in Taurus. So there's a bit of a soft spot in the evening when there's a healing opportunity socially, but then there's something shocking and surprising that jolts us awake in the late evening. So I think if we remain open to the many possibilities of how the night could go, we may be a lot happier than if we try to control everything and make people or experiences conform to our ideas of how everything ought to go. The moon and Uranus both in fixed signs, and in a square could be a really rigid jolt that breaks something. So my best advice is to try to be flexible to counter that energy. Let's move on to the card for the day. What is the guidance for today? Radha Hungan, King of Swords. On this card, we see a Hungan, a voodoo priest, playing a Radha drum, a ceremonial instrument. There is swirling yellow energy that seems to be emanating from the drum and the fingertips of the priest. The court cards can represent people in our lives, or they can represent a situation that embodies the energy of the court card. So in this case, we have Radha Hungan, or in traditional tarot, the King of Swords, which could quite literally represent an older man who is a master at the art of communication. Someone who can use their words effectively, like a lawyer, a mediator, a diplomat, a skilled doctor at delivering hard news, or even a skilled astrologer at delineation. Swords can also represent someone of nobility or of very high stature. The Hungan is a priest who is adept at communicating with the invisible world, and on this card he is allowing himself to be possessed by the spirits in order to deliver the messages he is receiving through the music of the drum. So this could mean someone delivering a message to you about someone else or something else that is normally outside your consciousness. As an energy, this card represents using our words to effectively communicate, making sure our intent is the desired effect, and speaking with clarity and precision, but staying flexible and incorporating our intuition when appropriate, possessing the skills and the know-how to handle and manage any situation. As the card for the day, I feel this could either represent someone that you may encounter, seek guidance and advice from, or have a conversation with, or you could be the one whose guidance and advice are sought after. This could be an air sign person, a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. It could also signify using our intellectual, rational mind and our intuitive subconscious mind together to deliver our words today and find a balance between the two. It's almost like by allowing ourselves to get swept away in the moment mentally, we are actually containing the energy and giving it boundaries when we then speak it. The boundaries of words that are safe, secure, and manageable. I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope this is helpful. Until tomorrow, AstroMommy.
Thank you for reading or listening to the Daily Horoscope. Quick links and resources can be found at the bottom of the newsletter. Today's card was pulled from the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot, available on Amazon. If you seek knowledge and enlightenment, the AstroMommy Newsletter may be right for you. Side effects of reading or listening to the AstroMommy Newsletter are common and include joy, jubilation, delight, happiness, gratitude, love, triumph, feeling in tune with the universe, experiencing deep insights, reflections, and contemplations, a lightened soul, a lighter step, feeling awake when others are asleep, illuminated, enlightened, having spiritual experiences, noticing repeating numbers, animals in nature, or songs on the radio that speak to you, getting vibes, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsmelliance, feeling like you know secret language, biophilia, crying tears of joy, emotional literacy, feeling lively, stable, exalted, having an auric glow, or feeling like you woke up on the right side of the bed have all been reported. If you purchase anything through the affiliate links that I provide in the newsletters, I will make a very small commission. Thanks for listening.